Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to OEN Engage, and thank you for joining today's session, Community Conversations, Engaging Faculty in Open Ed When Financial Incentives Aren't an Option, a topic that comes up again and again in every environment we're in. My name is Tanya Groves, and I'm the Director of Educational Programs for the Open Ed Network. Just a few housekeeping items before we get going. We kicked off the week with the OEN land acknowledgement and the community norms. If you'd like to review them or follow us on social media or post, you can find them at the links listed here. We welcome you to share your local land acknowledgement in the chat if you'd like to do so, or visit the Native Land Digital site to learn about the lands that our community members inhabit and dig deeper into our relationships with their heritage, the resources they share, and how we can actively be a part of a better future moving forward. This session is being recorded, just so you know, to benefit those in our community who are unable to attend. The links and the deck will be shared out after the event. If you have comments or questions during the session, please feel free to submit them via the chat, and we'll do our best to address them. And now also, please join me in welcoming today's presenters. So in a few slides, we'll get to Cheryl Casey, University of Arizona, Mandi Goodsett, Cleveland State University, and Heather McBean from the University of Kansas. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Some ground rules for this, because it's a community conversation. We encourage you to please be here now and avoid multitasking, share the airtime, foster mutual respect by using inclusive language and being mindful of power dynamics, and we welcome all ideas and questions. So today, I'm going to pass it over to Cheryl to go first. Thanks, Cheryl.
All right, thanks, Tanya. Yeah, so I've been at the University of Arizona for 16 years now and doing this work since about 2014. I'll share just a little bit about the University of Arizona OER context. I have no ongoing dedicated budget for OER. I rely on gifts and one-time funds and money from other units in the libraries and on campus. For example, we cost share press books with our Teaching and Learning Center. When we do have gift money or authors are able to secure grant funding, then we can pay authors, peer reviewers, and copy editors. Otherwise, that work is volunteer, which isn't ideal. But instead of providing financial incentives for adopting, adapting, or creating OER, I can instead offer faculty resources and services that use my time, like one-on-one assistance, an annual learning community, increased visibility for their OER, and analytics that they can use to demonstrate the impact of OER in their promotion and tenure dossier or their annual review. Next slide, please. As far as one-on-one assistance, I can offer help finding OER for them to adopt or adapt. I'm careful not to assess OER quality or fit for faculty, since I'm not the subject matter expert or an expert on the scope, sequence, and learning objectives of their course, but I can point faculty toward reviews in the open textbook library and other places. My campus partner, who's a learning technologist, offers support for H5P learning activities. I help faculty in getting their OER added to the open textbook library and guide them on how to add their materials to Merlot and OER Commons. And I publicize their OER on various listservs. I offer quite a bit of Pressbook support, answering questions via email or hopping on Zoom to meet. I tried doing drop-in OER help for a semester, but found that people typically need help immediately and don't want to wait until the next session. I've loaded up our help pages with lots of resources, like links to guides and Pressbooks how-to videos. And this summer, I'm working on an author guide focusing on metadata, Creative Commons licensing, attribution best practices, and accessibility checks and remediation. Next slide, please. Several years ago, I created this check for ebook availability form, which has been a really useful tool for redirecting faculty to OER. It's allowed us to be more proactive than reactive before faculty submit their textbook adoptions. Several weeks before the campus store's textbook adoption deadlines, our ebook coordinator emails all instructors on campus with a reminder about the deadlines and a link to this form. And our library buys all required and recommended textbooks with an unlimited user ebook license whenever possible, but publishers won't sell us the license about 80% of the time. With this form, we can work with faculty to identify OER, alternate ebooks, streaming video, or article chapter options. Next slide, please. About 10 years ago, I asked our graphic designer to create textbook hero posters. I think I got the idea from OpenStax and some of their t-shirts, featuring faculty using OER. We're due for a new round of posters. We printed copies to put up in the library, the campus store, teaching and learning center, and faculty departments. We also feature U of A courses using OER on the library website to build awareness and faculty recognition. I'd love to create an awards program someday. Being able to list an award in their dossier and annual review, even if the award doesn't come with any money, is a way to reward faculty using OER. Next slide, please. Another way I can engage faculty is to offer a learning community. Our participants don't get a stipend, and we've never even had a snack budget. We meet via Zoom since the pandemic or throughout the pandemic. I co-led the learning community since we launched Pressbooks in 2020. And my partner, learning technologist from our Teaching and Learning Center co-leads. And it's great to have her since she has different expertise, different campus contacts, and perspectives. Communications at the U of A are very siloed and throttled, so it's helpful to be able to piggyback on academic affairs, learning communities, infrastructure, and their outreach methods. We've discovered people who were not on our OER radar at all through these learning communities. It's also been useful for building a campus-wide community of practice and to enable people from different corners of campus to interact and find common ground and common solutions. I share resources from our learning communities, like slide decks, emails, and invitations at this bit.ly link, and I'll drop it in the chat in just a second. Excuse me, next slide, please. And the visitors, page views, and website traffic, or referrers, as Pressbooks refers to them, are great metrics for faculty dossiers and annual reviews. OER and open access aren't specifically mentioned in promotion and tenure guidelines for the U of A, so it's up to faculty to make the case for the impact of their OER use. And I can help faculty do that. I can show them where to find Pressbooks analytics or even send them the data on a regular basis. They can look at referrals from EDU sites and see that as an indication of where the book is likely been adopted. Number 2 here, open.umn.edu is the open textbook library. I also have a student survey that can be adapted to meet their particular needs, to get feedback on what students like about the OER they're using and what they don't like, and to inform updates and revisions. And next, I'll pass things off to Mandi.
Thanks, Cheryl.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. Next slide. Hi, everybody. So I'll give a little bit of my context as well. So I'm at Cleveland State University, and our textbook affordability program is around 10 years old. We do have some funded initiatives. We have a textbook affordability grant, and we also have a textbook affordability summer symposium. That's more of like a training program. However, for both of these, the funding is never guaranteed from year to year. And in fact, this past year, I have to ask every year if we have the funding. And this past year, the answer was no, but we managed to get funding from another place. So it's very precarious. And it's also really limited. And historically, we've really wanted to reach more faculty, even though our resources can't really grow in that way. So this was kind of an outgrowth of that uh, goal. Next slide. So our main goal was low cost encouragement or no cost encouragement of open education efforts. And so we created what we called a gratitude campaign. And this was actually pre-pandemic, so it's been a little while. The guiding principles of our campaign were first, it should be public. So we wanted all of our outreach to be really visible, as almost a little bit of like positive social pressure to those who are maybe not as involved. We wanted it to be positive, so we didn't want to have a lot of discussion about like, oh, students are struggling, and really focus more on like, look at what these amazing faculty are doing to support students. And then we wanted it to be inclusive. So instead of really just focusing on open education, we really looked at all different kinds of textbook affordability so that we could have like the biggest tent possible to make people feel like, oh, I'm part of this program and this initiative. Next slide. So the first thing we did with the gratitude campaign is we did some faculty photo shoots for our faculty who were exploring open textbooks. We were really fortunate to have an instructional designer. I don't know if she's here, Heather Capret, but she's amazing and she has an interest in photography already. So she took these really nice photos. And some of the photos, where the faculty could use as just nice professional photos of themselves, which a lot of them did not have. So that was kind of a bonus for them. But then we also got these really nice photos we could use for our own marketing purposes. Next slide. We also asked the provost if he would be willing to sign a thank you letter. So basically, we wrote the thank you letter and then he was willing to sign it. And what I did was I generated a list of what I called affordability advocates. And I'd really recommend kind of keeping a list like this. It's everybody who went through our grant program, but also people who went to any of my workshops or who I had a conversation with in the hallway that were thinking about textbook affordability. And I just added them to a big list. And so we were able to give that thank you letter to all of those folks. And I do have a template for that letter that you're welcome to use. I'll show you that later. Another thing we did was we created this big giant thank you card and we brought it to an SGA meeting. And I had some like examples of messages on post-it notes for them, but I let them just write whatever thank you message they wanted on there. And you can see we had 2 boards like this. They had really nice messages. And this was a thank you to our affordability advocates. So again, it's really positive. And we were able to use this for some of the public things we did, as you'll see in a second. Next slide. And then we also made these cute faculty door hangers that just said, thank you for being an affordability advocate. And we put it on the doors of the folks who are on that affordability advocates list. And it was meant to both be like a positive thing to show thanks, but also a little bit again of that, a little bit of social pressure, like, oh, I see like my colleagues around me have a cool door hanger and I don't. What is this about? Maybe getting faculty a little more curious. And this was really easy to make, so not super expensive. And again, I have a template of this that you're welcome to take and use and share. Next slide. And then this was kind of the big finale. We had a social media campaign with goodie bags. So this wasn't for everyone on our list, but for kind of some of our big faculty champions, textbook heroes. We emailed them and said, hey, we have a goodie bag with library swag for you as a thank you. And we already had some library swags. We put it in there. We put like flyers for events we were hoping they would attend and told them to share with their friends. And then when they came to get their bag, we asked if they would take a picture with the big thank you sign. And then we used those photos to share on social media throughout Open Education Week and to say thank you. And we were fortunate that one of the days, I think, some SGA representatives happened to be having a meeting with me, I think, and the faculty member came. So like the photo was with SGA, with students and the faculty member, which was really nice. Next slide. So I I wrote all this up in an article and I have templates and details. I also want to just really quickly mention we also have something Cheryl said made me think of this. We have a textbook hero award as well, and we offer that in collaboration with SGA. And that's another one. It doesn't cost us in the library anything. We just work with SGA. And one thing that surprised me is that our SGA actually has funding for some of this work. So they were able to like buy a nice plaque and stuff like that. And I would never have thought to ask SGA if they had funding to help us out, but that's like another place you can look to for kind of incentives for faculty. And I think I will now turn it over to Heather.
Thanks so much, Mandi. And Heather, thank you for being here. We will have a chance, if you have questions, we will have a chance to go into breakout rooms and ask those questions. Presenters, though, as someone else is presenting, if you see questions for you in the chat, if you wouldn't mind answering, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome, Heather. Thank you for sharing.
And thank you for having me, everyone, and great ideas from both Cheryl and Mandi. I was sitting here thinking, I can't type and watch and do it all at the same time and write them down, so I guess I'll have to watch the video later. I am Heather McBean, and I am the Open Education Librarian at the University of Kansas, and I've been in this role since August of 2022, so I am coming up on my anniversary. So next slide. So where does the University of Kansas fit into this whole conversation? Well, we are the public R1 university in the state of Kansas. We serve about 26,000 students. We're located in Lawrence, which is about 45 minutes west of Kansas City, so that's kind of nice as well. And KU has a long history of open advocacy, beginning with the Faculty Senate's open access policy, which it provides a requirement, or allows for faculty to go ahead and publish openly if they so choose. And that launched in or was passed in 2009. Some of our initiatives, the OER grant initiative was started in 2016, and then 3 years later, the textbook Heroes launched in 2019. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Josh Bullock, who is the head of the Office of Scholarly Communications, who actually launched and did all this work. And I am carrying on with all that good stuff. So in our minds, Textbook Heroes is a low-cost, high-impact way to recognize OER advocates at KU, and it's rewarding both the advocates. It promotes OER and affordability and creates PR value for the libraries. Next slide, please. So what are Textbook Heroes? Textbook Heroes are members of the KU community who've taken extraordinary initiative to increase access to and affordability of required course materials by implementing and advocating OER and other low and no cost course materials. And I'd like to emphasize the extraordinary initiative. This is intentionally broad so that we can look for all kinds of open education work or OER work across campus, and then promote those people with a textbook hero designation. Next slide, please. So this is the landing page for our Textbook Heroes program. And if you click on, if somebody can put this link in there somewhere, I think it was on the last slide, but if not, I will do it at the end. You can get to their profile, which is pretty extensive, which is released when the Textbook Heroes is announced. Next slide. So who is involved with this whole thing? Well, as the Open Education Librarian, I collect and organize all of the nominations that we get, and people can self-nominate. Their coworkers can nominate them, or even people in the libraries who work with them can nominate them. And those come in throughout the year. The Office of Communication Advancement, they do a lot of the heavy lifting. So with this whole process. So beginning in like January, mid to early January, we start collecting and I start organizing with OCA to put all these puzzle pieces together, which means that OCA starts thinking about how they're going to get a photo session in, how they're going to get the video session in. They also manage the press releases, the social media announcements, and they update the profiles on the webpage. So basically, the library's OCA, if they did not do this, this initiative wouldn't be as good as it is. So I have to reach and thank my colleagues in OCA. And then also the OER working group members who actually review like the grant initiative applications, but they also provide information about people that they know that might be great textbook heroes. Sometimes they nominate, but they provide a lot of information to me because they are from different parts of the library. Next slide, please. So what is the process? So again, I identify and then I email the potential heroes, stating like the what, where, and how of what the textbook heroes, the whole initiative, what they would get if they would accept accept this award. So I do that. Like I said, OCA coordinates a portrait session and then interviews, both written and video. And then if the textbook hero is amenable, they come and actually film them doing their work in the classroom. So that is what's really cool about the videos that are part of the profile. And that's only something that started in the last 3 years. The heroes are announced at an Open Education Week event. The profiles are then posted to the Textbook Heroes site when their names are announced. There's a press release to the campus newsletter, and sometimes that happens before the event because if we're trying to promote like an incoming speaker, we say their textbook heroes will be announced, but we don't say who it is. So, but if there's not an event like that, then it gets announced at the time, or the news goes out to the newsletter then. OCA does their social media magic by promoting it on all of our platforms, and so it goes out to everybody. And then I also send a personalized message to the Heroes department chair or supervisor saying what a great and awesome job this person is doing around open education and OER, and then invite them to be part of the celebration. Next slide. So what do the heroes get? Well, they get an award and an honors line for their CV. They get professionally taken portraits. We only use one, but they can have the whole series of portraits to use as they want to. They get public recognition and promotion of their work. They get a profile to link to their social media platforms and their CV. They actually then get the promotion of their work to their supervisor and other campus administrators, because since it does go out to KU Today, everybody can see it. And then there's increased connection to a community of practice. Next slide. And then what the libraries get. We get promotion of our OER grant program. We get an expanded network of advocates across campus, which is very helpful. It's a public relations opportunity for us that leads to content for future communication and advancement efforts, including fundraising for the libraries. And then at the end there, after my thank you slide, there are some resources that include that can be used by everyone to start a program on your campus. And I would be happy to answer questions, and then please reach out to me at any time if I can be helpful with something on your campus.
Thank you so much, Heather, for all of that great information and the resources slide, which is super helpful. Again, this is being recorded, so you will get access to all of these slides and the recording as well.